I mean, what is there to say? What is there to say when it comes to this New York Giants team? To give up 30 points in one quarter, to blow a 26 to 8 lead, which at one point was a 19 to 0 lead. To say head should roll is an understatement. I don't ever want to see Shane Bowen in the state of New Jersey and the state of New York ever again. Shane Bowen should not be allowed to get on the team plane and fly home. Dropping 8 in coverage? And what's wild is this isn't the first time that we've seen it with Shane Bowen. Do we not remember the Week 2 Dallas Cowboys collapse? Another game that they should have won. At what point is enough enough? You can't convince me that Andre Patterson would be a worse defensive coordinator than Shane Bowen. Or whoever. It doesn't have to be Andre Patterson. It could be the linebackers coach, the secondary coach, defense. It doesn't matter. It can't be worse than Shane Bowen. Now, not all of the blame goes on Shane Bowen. Mike Kafka, coming out of the half, did not call a good game. But my goodness, do the New York Giants know how to do it? Only the New York Giants know how to have a lead in the way that they did and lose in the fashion that they did. This is a New York Giants team that is so bad that they find new and unique ways to lose. Only the New York Giants. This was a game that the New York Giants should have not only won, but had in the bag by the third quarter. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of Giants fans that are going to get on Jackson Dart for that costly interception, but I'm not going to get on Jackson Dart. As a matter of fact, Jackson Dart has proved me wrong. And I'm still going to ride the wave and, feel him out for the rest of the year. But after this game, against that number one defense that's leading the NFL in sacks, and to have the performance that he did, yeah, the New York Giants have their franchise quarterback. I'm saying it right now. Even in what I would consider one of the most heartbreaking and embarrassing losses that I could remember in recent memory. Jackson Dart is the New York Giants franchise quarterback. To have multiple touchdowns through the air, one touchdown through the ground, what was supposed to be a game-winning drive. Now, I understand refs kind of bailed them out in certain moments, but at the end of the day, Jackson Dart played one hell of a game today. Did he have some throws that he's going to want back? Absolutely. But I also saw guys not getting open. The New York Giants have a wide receiver problem. I saw Jude McAtamey, oh my goodness, miss 3 field goals and not have a field goal or an extra point for over 31 yards. The New York Giants have a problem at kicker. Deonte Banks, we already knew he was a liability starting, but now he's a liability coming off of the bench. At this point, there were a lot of Giants fans and even some beat reporters I've seen that have speculated that the New York Giants would move off of Deonte Banks at some point. The New York Giants need to move off of Deonte Banks today. Today. I don't care if you need to trade him or if you just have to flat out cut Deonte Banks. Get him off of this team. He has done nothing positive for this team in the last almost 2 seasons. What are we doing here? It is egregious what we have seen from this New York Giants team. It is embarrassing how they find ways to lose. It's just flat out embarrassing. Now, I got to give a lot of credit to the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton. He had that team looking good in the fourth quarter. For any team to put up 30 points in one quarter, salute to you. Salute to you. This was one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in the NFL in quite some time. The only upset I could think of that would even come close to this was the Minnesota Vikings coming back and beating the Indianapolis Colts. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? When Jess Saturday was the coach's head coach? Egregious. Beyond egregious. Dropping 8 in coverage? With the game on the line? Knowing that your defense is gassed? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that that's not what you do. You don't do that. Now, I'm going to say this much. Despite this loss, the New York Giants are headed in the right direction. The New York Giants have their franchise quarterback. And I've been very adamant in saying that regardless whether it's win, lose, or draw, I'm going to see how Jackson Dart plays this season. I want to see his development. But this was a good game by Jackson Dart, despite that costly interception. Did he have some throws that were some boneheaded decisions that could have led to interceptions? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I saw a guy that was out there playing with what looked like an injured hamstring or an ankle injury and putting this offense on his back, trying to make plays downfield, manipulating the pocket, looking poised in the pocket despite going against the best defense in the NFL. If you thought the New York Giants had a question mark at quarterback, this is a game that solidified that the New York Giants have their franchise quarterback. Daniel Bellinger. I don't want to ever hear that Theo Johnson is tight end 1. I, as well as a very few minority of Giants content creators, have been vocal that Daniel Bellinger is tight end 1. He catches everything that is thrown to him. He's a good blocker. He's good downfield. He's good in the intermediate. Theo Johnson can't seem to catch a cold. Everything that seems to be thrown to him, he seems to drop. He's a liability when it comes to blocking. I was honestly shocked that he caught that ricochet tip ball from Wandale and took it 41 yards to the house. I thought he was going to drop that. Cam Scatterbo, again, another touchdown in this game. In the first half, he looked hot. I'm not going to put a lot of blame on him. Tyrone Tracy, 31-yard touchdown. This was a game the New York Giants should have won. On the defensive side of the ball, Brian Burns, another 2-sack game. 4 sacks through 2 games, multiple 2-sack games, leading the NFL currently with 9 sacks. Looking like an all-pro, looking like the defensive player of the year. And a win today would have solidified that. And now the New York Giants are 2-5. And that's all people are going to be talking about, is that they lost this game. They're not going to look at how Brian Burns looked dominant in this game. They're not going to look at how Jackson Dart looked poised in the pocket, manipulating the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, making plays. It doesn't matter. The New York Giants are 2-5. It doesn't matter. Cordell Flott, he looked like the best cornerback out there today. Paulson Adebo, I was a fan of the signing, but my God, am I eating crow? He is not looking good. And you paid him the money that you paid him to be your cornerback 1. And he doesn't look that much better than Deonte Banks. Drew Phillips, he's such a Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of a player. One week he looks good, another week he looks like Swiss cheese. Today he looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, what more is there to say? Jude McAtamey missing 3 3 extra points, missed a field goal. The Giants have a kicker problem, and it started before Jude McAtamey came to the lineup. They had a kicker problem for the last 2 years, and the New York Giants refuse to make cautious decisions to upgrade at that position. You bring in Young Wei Koo. You bring in Jude McAtamey because your back is up against the wall. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Because there were moments today where you saw a New York Giants team that gave you confidence that this could be a good team later on down the road next year when they add some more pieces to the offensive line and on the wide receiver side. But ultimately, this is a bad team. This is a 2-5 team. They are what their record is, in the words of Bill Parcells. At what point you were 5-11 on third down? Just unacceptable. Beyond unacceptable what we saw from this New York Giants team today. And there's a lot of blame to go around. Mike Kafka, predictable play calling coming out of the half, conservative play calling coming out of the half. Shane Bowen dropping 8 on the Broncos' last drive, having this defense play a lot of soft zone, not containing Bo Nix. Guys not getting open at the wide receiver position on offense. It's unacceptable. It is flat out unacceptable what we witnessed today by the New York Giants. At what point do you say enough is enough? Unbelievable. At what point it was 19-0, then 26-8, ends 33-32. Typical New York Giants fashion. And at what point all you could do is laugh? That's all you can do. Heads need to roll. Someone needs to be fired. If it's Brian Daboll, I don't think they're going to fire Brian Daboll after this, but if it's Shane Bowen, if it's Mike Kafka, something needs to change. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You saw Abdul Carter jarring at guys early in the game, providing that energy that this New York Giants team needed. He even had moments where he looked good. He didn't get back there in terms of the sacks, but creating pressure, chasing down Bo Nix, playing well in the run game. And ultimately, this defense was gassed, and you saw it. You saw it. Unbelievable. I mean, I just, not even shocked. Now, I will say this much. If there's any victory lap that I am going to take in this video, it is I had posted, which you guys have already seen by now. If you haven't already, you could go look at our Twitter account, The Giant Topic. You'll see it there. I had tweeted earlier this week that Nick Bonito would not have any production against Andrew Thomas. Why did I say that? Because I've seen Andrew Thomas have a fairly good game against Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in the NFL. I've seen year in and year out Andrew Thomas handle Micah Parsons by himself. And much respect to Nick Bonito, please let me stress this, that I am a fan of Nick Bonito's game. But he is not in that class of defenders. And it showed today. Nick Bonito had zero production lined up against Andrew Thomas. I mean, he had zero production in this game at all. But he had zero production lined up against Andrew Thomas. I was confident in that. And I was proved right. Because I know what Andrew Thomas brings. And if you're a New York Giants fan, you know what Andrew Thomas brings. There's a reason why coming into this game, he's let up 0 pressures and 0 sacks this year. When he is healthy, he is a top 3 left tackle. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to accept the facts, but the facts are the facts. When he is healthy, he is a top 3 left tackle. And he shut out whoever was lined up against him. Whether it was Jonathan Cooper, whether it was Nick Bonito, it did not matter. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So, Giants are 2-5. They're going to be facing a pissed off Philadelphia Eagles team that's looking to get right after them embarrassing the Philadelphia Eagles on primetime just 10 days ago. And my goodness, it could potentially be a bloodbath if we're being honest. After the performance that Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown had today against that Minnesota Vikings defense and Brian Flores, yeah, could look like a bloodbath. But this one's going to sting, Giants fans. This one is going to sting for a while because this was a game that we could add to the list that the New York Giants should have won. And they didn't because they find new and unique ways to lose. unbelievable. It's unacceptable. And someone needs to be held accountable. That's all I'm going to say. But if you have not already, if you made it this far, join the topic, hit that subscribe button, leave a like below, leave us your comment below as well. Let us know some of your thoughts. You can find us on all social media platforms under the Giant Topic, and we'll see you guys on the next video.